Welcome to another episode of the Decorate Like a Design Boss podcast. Today, we are tackling a listener's question. It's such a good question that I would bet many of you ponder the same thing as well. So, let's get on with it and learn a thing or two about how to know when it's time to purge, or to know with confidence that perhaps you need to keep an item. Welcome to Decorate Like a Design Boss, a podcast for design lovers who want to create beautiful spaces in their very own homes. My name is Kimberly Grigg, and I'm a professional interior designer who teaches design lovers like yourselves how to decorate. And when I say decorate, I mean decorate like a design boss. If you're ready to create a space that your family loves and your neighbors can't stop raving about, well, buckle up, honey, because it's time to design. Hello there, my design-loving friends. A lot of you have been emailing me wonderful, great questions lately, and I thought it might be a good idea to tackle one of them right here on today's podcast. Now, you all ask a lot of really good questions, and eventually I hope to answer all of them. So please keep them coming. And today, I think that this question is something that a lot of you go through because, well, I'm often asked this over and over. I'll forewarn you though, this question is very touching. And I can hear the honest, authentic struggle that this listener is having. And I hope I can give just the right answer that might help her, but also that might help you if you have a similar struggle in knowing when it's time to let go of something precious or when it's time to hang on. So listen as I read what Janet has to say. Dear Kimberly, I know you're not God, well that's for sure, but I am struggling right now. I've prayed about it and still an answer hasn't come. It's about a well-kept couch in my parents' formal living room that was left to me after they died. My husband, we have no children, says it looks like an old person's couch and that we don't need it, but if I insist, then he'd rather move it than me have regrets later and then speak of them. The couch is from the early 70s or 80s, and we have already moved the club chairs and gold velvet wing chair that were paired with it. Well, I'm sort of thinking that she means they have moved these items into their home, but I'm not 100% sure. The texture is sort of scratchy in the sofa, and for some reason, one end squeaks a little when sitting down. But the couch was rarely used, except when opening Christmas gifts. I can probably sell it on Facebook Marketplace, she says, but doing so sort of makes me sick. I like the color, but my husband says it would go to the basement or a spare bedroom if it could fit. It was originally purchased in High Point, North Carolina. We will need to let go of a lot of unnecessaries and things we really need to part with that have carried over from the years spent living in our home. We are 56. We will eventually need to get rid of some of the furniture. She says, my life got more chaotic about 15 or 16 years ago after a couple of moves and when I ended up being the caretaker of my mother and then also the caretaker of my father. Needless to say, after we sell my parents' place, I will then concentrate on creating a home that we won't be ashamed of. It's such a mess, but at least I am not in denial about this. She goes on to say that she doesn't have an empty space for the sofa, and her husband really doesn't want to replace the sofa that they have and use on a daily basis. So she thinks that if they get rid of some things in the basement or bedroom, then they could keep it. Please tell me what your gut says. I hate to let go of something that my parents treated with such respect. I hate to let go of a couch that I still see beauty in. Yet my husband does not share the same feelings about this, and he is frustrated with the chaos in our home as it is. So, what do I do? Wow. So this question is very loaded, and there's a lot of directions within the question. Even as I was rereading it, I thought of even more options. So I know that a lot of you have had similar questions and experiences, especially when knowing when it's time to purge, or when is it time to keep something that feels truly precious. I have often said that design really is finding a logical solution to a complicated problem. I have also said that design is about 95% psychology, and I don't mean me playing psychologist necessarily, but there is a lot of emotions wrapped up in our homes, and especially in our things. So, there's so much in this question, and I want to really try and dive in and unpack it in hopes to help Janet out. Please note that you are right, Janet. I am not God, and in the end, I am merely pointing out some logical solutions, but you will have to follow your own heart and your own gut in making the final decision. So first of all, Janet, you've been through a lot. And you need to give yourself a little break and a big hug. I would put my arms around you and hug you right now if I could. When you've been through a lot emotionally, well, you kind of need to relax a little bit on tough decisions like this one for the moment. Right now, you just might not be able to let go, and it's okay. If this is the case, then storing the sofa in a basement is a good option. So one option would be to store it in the basement with a deadline. Give yourself some grace for now and then circle back round in 6 months, and then perhaps you'll be more equipped to make a decision. So that is an option. I do not, however, want you to just tuck it in the basement and leave it there terminally when you don't have the feelings of love attached to the sofa, as in you love seeing it, you love the beauty of it, you love sitting on it, you love more than just that it was your parents' sofa and their respect for their fine things and that sofa. It has to have a connection to you. And this part is probably what is tripping you up a little bit, Janet, because it's still tender that you lost your parents. And this is a reminder of them. And so it's very hard to let go when those are your feelings. But I want you to be very clear with yourself that if you have an item in your home, you want to have it there because you truly find it to be precious to you, not just a precious memory. All right, so option 1 would be for you to consider storing the sofa for 6 months or so with a deadline that you are going to make a decision to either love it or to let go of it. All right, so let's move on to another option. So often when we're trying to purge, we get caught up in the emotions associated with the item or items we're trying to purge. We want to re-experience those feelings that are associated with the items or the money that we spent purchasing the items. How often do we say, I can't get rid of that because I spent so much money on it? I have this very expensive suit in my closet that is absolutely beautiful. I bought it 10 or 12 years ago, and it is classic and timeless, and it's a gorgeous color. However, I haven't worn it since the first year that I owned it, but I won't let go of it because I paid a lot of money for it. I am never really going to wear that suit again. It just doesn't fit my current lifestyle. And I really need to let it go. In this case of the sofa, it's certainly understandable that Janet has tons of feelings wrapped up in this sofa. She even refers to the respect that her parents had for the sofa. One thing that you could consider in this case in honoring them and the sofa by perhaps creating a memory book of special times of them using the sofa, like at Christmas. This memory book or box could contain photos and memorabilia of cherished moments of your parents, especially memories that occurred in this space with the sofa. Now, Janet, I want you to confine this to one box or one book as to not create too much more clutter and or chaos. A single box takes up lots less room than an entire sofa, so this might be a way that you can cherish what is important, which deep down is probably not the actual sofa, but the feelings and love for your parents, and that the sofa is just a reminder of those feelings. In this case, if you do decide to let go of the sofa, then you could consider rehoming it to someone who really needs it, or think of a way it could benefit someone somehow. This would be the greatest form of honor, and I think it would give your parents great joy to have someone less fortunate have the sofa. And quite frankly, I should do the same for my suit. I just don't want to let go of it because, well, I know how much money I paid for it, and I keep thinking someday I'll wear it. But I know that I won't, so I really should let go of the suit and gift it or sell it to someone who really could use it and enjoy it. And I'm declaring right here and right now that I'm either going to wear the suit in the next month or I'm going to rehome it. Now, Janet, you don't have to be so severe with yourself right now. Again, you've been through a lot. But perhaps it would help if you do decide to let go of this sofa, to think of ways that you could rehome it that would make you feel good about it. And I love the memory box idea. I have helped clients with this before so that they're not hanging on necessarily to the actual things, but they're actually hanging on to the things that matter. And it's those memories that are associated with those things. Okay, so now another thing that I noticed in your question is that maybe you weren't really in love with the sofa. You do refer a couple of times to it as you still see beauty in it. But you also say it's scratchy and looks like it came from the 1970s. I say it's important to surround yourself with things that bring you joy and with things that you really love. So ask yourself, if you keep the sofa, is it bringing you true joy? Do you really love it? Like really love it? I have a feeling that you might be hanging on because you want to cherish those memories. And Janet, you know what? Sofa or no sofa, you are never going to lose those memories or feelings. So don't keep the sofa just to keep those memories alive. Let those memories live on in other ways. If, on the other hand, you say to me that you love this sofa and its lines with all of your heart and you feel that it will bring you great joy every day, then I would say we can fix the scratchy fabric with a new fabric and we can reupholster it. If the sofa is of the age I think it is well built, and it was made in High Point during the time when most furniture was manufactured there, so it is probably well made and well built. And the squeak could be repaired when you reupholster it. So, option 2 is to let go of the sofa and rehome it to someone who you know could use it. And option 3 is to keep the sofa if you really love it. And I'm not sure that you do because you never really indicated in your email that you actually loved the sofa, but more that you loved the idea that the sofa represented. But if you do in fact really love the sofa, then keep it and reupholster it and use it. Put it somewhere that you can derive joy from it and don't just relegate it to the basement because, well, it's just being stored. This actually reminds me of a story about my daughter. My daughter just turned 23 last week, and this story is when she was about 4.5. She has always attached hard to her things, and she absolutely loved her crib. She was the fifth child of 6, and I had enough going on as a professional taxi driver, wife, and a career woman to actually not care if she slept in her crib for an eternity. But my husband kept saying, "It is time. She really can't go to kindergarten with the other kids, and then they start coming over for play dates, and she still sleeps in her crib." So I devised a little plan, and I actually did this. I was reading her a bedtime story one night, and I began to tell her how lucky she was that she had a beautiful, warm, cozy crib, but that there were so many children in this world who didn't have a warm, cozy, beautiful crib. And that there were some children who never got to sleep in a crib, and that some, in fact, slept in dresser drawers and on the floor, etc. Well, she fell asleep that night, and the next morning she told me that she would like to give her crib to one of those children. I agreed, but she was no pushover. I was not allowed actually to just drop it off in Goodwill and hope for the best. She wanted to actually gift this crib to a family and see that it was going to get used in the way in which I had said. Well, I set about and I found a single mother who was struggling, and the rest is history. So maybe, Janet, if you do decide to let it go, you can do so in a way that actually feels good and is honorable to your heart and to your parents. Now, I want to tackle another thing in your email. I also caution you, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So I'm going to tell you this as your design friend and mentor in an effort to help, but only bite off what you can chew in this part of my message to you and circle back around for more when you can. When you're writing to me, you often say that your home feels disorganized and chaotic. This is not a good feeling, Janet. I'm sure that you are aware. I want you to walk into your home and feel empowered. Everyone deserves to love where and how they live, no matter their station in life. So if you want some quick, feel-good empowerment, I want you to do something about the chaos right now, or at least as soon as possible. In fact, I feel like this might even be more important than the decision about the sofa. If you'll end up giving yourself a deadline on the sofa, then also give yourself a deadline on getting organized. I sense that you are so overwhelmed and truly saddened by the loss of your parents that this may seem like a lot. But I say maybe consider hiring a professional organizer to help you with this. I also say that this is probably even more important than clearing everything out of your parents' space and getting that property dealt with and sold. Sometimes putting our oxygen mask on first is the right plan. And you know what, Janet? I'm encouraging you to do so. So, there's some really good organizers out there, and honestly, I think this is money well spent, especially for where you are right now in your life and in your home, and that there's so much to deal with that it's super easy to become overwhelmed. But if you can get your own space organized and you can feel good about it, then it'll be much easier to tackle these other big projects, and then you have a glorious space to retreat to on your own when the going gets tough on a daily basis. So I want you to keep remembering and saying, you are worthy, or in your case, I am worthy, because Janet, you deserve to live in an organized, beautiful home that suits you. I suspect your parents would want this for you as well. If this feels a bit overwhelming, again, then bite off one thing a day. I recently have been organizing my own home, or I would say reorganizing. I'm a maximalist and I have been accumulating and accumulating. I have a lot of stuff and I love all of it with a passion. But there comes a time when it's all just too much. So, since the first of the year, I've been organizing one thing a day. Some days it's a drawer, some days it's a whole section in my closet, some days it's a shelf in the pantry, and one weekend I even tackled the entire garage. Getting organized is one of the most empowering things you can do in your home. I promise, not only does it take your mind off of life, but it feels so good to purge and free up the space, both physically and mentally. So, Janet, please know I feel you. And I hope that one of these options resonates with you. I know it's difficult and I know it can be overwhelming and confusing, but take one step at a time and set some concrete goals for yourself, even if it's just a wee bit a day. Don't wait to live beautifully. Instead, live now and make it a goal to consider these options, but most importantly, give yourself permission and grace to organize your home. Purge and surround yourself with beauty and things that you truly love and that truly bring you joy. In the end, this is what your parents would have wanted for you. And remember, most importantly, you truly deserve it. So, all of you other listeners out there, do you have difficulty letting go of things like this? Have some of you been in similar situations where sentiment was deeply attached to an item? Well, I'd love to know what you did about it. Drop me a line or reach out on all of our social media platforms. And hey, don't forget to sign up for our newsletters at KimberlyGriggDesigns.com. And while you're at it, please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. We'd love to know how we're doing. And for now, as I like to say, don't wait. Today is a great day to decorate. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Decorate Like a Design Boss. If you want more info on how to decorate your space like a pro, visit KimberlyGriggDesigns.com. See you next week.